post for submitting, put for modifying entire, patch is for modifying any specific, and delete is for removing. These are the important. So these are the key important methods, HTTP methods or HTTP verbs that you need to use. So you need to configure and you need to use, right? So these are the HTTP request methods. These are the HTTP request methods. So we need to configure app. App is an instance of Express. Method is defined which HTTP method, and the path is used for configuring. Path refers to, so path, yeah, path refers to a specific location on server, So that means another uh, callback defines function to execute. So when request is matched. So how we can configure that? How we can test the request and define and configure that? So what you can do is, so generally the methods are defined in this way. The methods are configured in this way. So syntactically they are defined in this way. App dot, so the method get, and here the path, so the path reference, and we have a callback function, so which will have request and response object, and what functionality it has to perform, that we have to define. This is how generally we configure the methods and we define the methods. So let's try all the methods and let's see how they are used in interactions, how they are used in interactions, how they are configured with the interactions. So different methods for different options, how we can manage them. So let's see. So that means, so here we are using a simple application.js file, and let's create all the methods here. Initially, for that already we installed Express. So first we create an app. So for first we import Express. We import Express is equal to require Express library. After that, load the Express into memory, Express class into the memory and access its members. So by using app, you can load this Express into memory and app can access all the members. Now through app, we are creating the request. So that is get. So get here, when we are configuring the request. So actually route's first option is slash. This indicates if it is to the root application, then we will define a function. So we'll request and response. And here we are configuring. So response.send, and I will write a message here. So this is request to root. It is request to root. That is the message. This is request to root. I'm just defining that this is request to root. Now, when you are making the request, suppose I define here app.get and slash. So we can configure, you can configure any name. Suppose I said get products. So that means this is like get products, or simply you can say like a home, like about, lock, contact. That means you are requesting that particular resource here. That means if I write home, So that means, so here we will put a callback function. So request and response, and this is so response dot send. So this is a request for home page, something. Later we will send page. Currently we are sending message. Later we will send that pages. Which page he is requesting, we can serve that. So when you are making request, it can be in this way, app.get, and here, so here get product. So this is the path slash get product. Always better use lowercase. So it's not mandatory, but better use lowercase. So get product, and you can put a slash. This is a parameter, route parameters. Route parameter, you can say, so some one. So that means this is expecting, actually this is some ID like this. That means you are configuring a route called get product. It is expecting a parameter called ID. It is expecting the parameter ID. That means it is not just the page name. So it is the name and an ID is passed into it. This is called route parameter. Now, if request is something like this, then what should happen? Function. So request and response. So we will send a message, response dot send. We will say that. So this is a request with the so parameter ID. That is the option I'm defining. Later we will learn how to collect the parameter and use. So this is request with parameter ID. That is another option here. Now, when you are creating the request can use meta characters. The request can use meta characters. You can configure the request. That means you can write a regular expression. You can write regular expression. Remember, route parameters are defined in several ways. I will tell you how to get the parameters and configure them. So currently, first we will run this here. See, the ID you configured in this way. Suppose you want to access that and you want to use that. So you want to access and use that here. Generally, whenever you are configuring the parameter, every parameter can be accessed also. I will show you how we can access the parameter. When you define the route path can use, So here single quote, double quote doesn't matter. We will keep uniform. Right. The route parameter can use meta characters. It can use meta characters. So it can configure meta characters. So the route can use the meta characters. Meta characters means you can use the options like this. Suppose you can use the options like this. So you can write like we are expecting the page. So AB and so U, so about, and here about, this is the page. Suppose we are configuring meta characters. So suppose you know meta characters, how to define COLO, U question mark R. You can write like this. You know the meaning of this now? So what does that means? That means, so what does that means? The U can have, you can have how many occurrences? So you can have how many occurrences? That means it can have how many occurrences? Not optional, regular expression. I am telling about regular expression, right? Regular expression means U question mark indicates it can have 0 or 1 occurrence. Am I right? Yeah, good. So you know the regular expressions. We can use the regular expressions also. You can use question mark, you can use plus, you can use plus. So you can use any regular expression also. You can configure the regular expression. That means if it is matching any one of these, then it will get that. So that means suppose we are configuring like, so C asterisk T, C asterisk T. That means it should start with C, and after that it may contain any number of characters, and it can be T, end with T. This you can configure any character, any number of characters like that. The regular expressions also can be used in the path. If it is matching with any of that, then it will get that and it will display. So that depends on how you want to configure. You can define that function request and response. So response, and this is the callback. So here we say response.send, and we are sending, this is a request for some regular for page with regular expression. Just roughly I am giving some messages. So we are defining these regular expressions and configuring them. So this is how we use, so this is how we define the routes. So first, that means you can handle the route in any one of these ways. This is all GET requests, different types of GET requests. This is for fetching the data. So you can use all the ways, and app.listen, listen on which port number? So 3000. And console.log, we will say server started. So http://127.0.1 here the server started. Okay, let's run this in the terminal now. In the terminal, node app.js, and the server started, and try the request from the browser now. So 127.127.0.0.1:3000, and hit enter. It will get request to the root first. After that, I will put here and /home. I am requesting that /home. There is a path defined by /home. You can see it gets the request for home page. That means if the matching path is available, and it will get that and it will display. So now we are accessing in the URL, say get product. So we are configuring that get product, and get product and hit enter. You can see get product is not there, because get product is expecting a parameter. So we need to pass the route parameters. So in this way, /1, suppose that is the parameter, then it has to get that. But important, how to collect the parameter and use, I will show you, because usually route parameters are defined with a colon and they are collected by using request object. That I will show you later. Initially, if you make, we need to recompile every time. After making the changes, you have to compile that, and you can see that it says the request parameter with ID. Which ID? We can collect that ID parameter value also. I will show you in the next level. Next point we will discuss about that. So that means the parameter, this indicates that the path is expecting a parameter, right? So this parameter can be any parameter you can pass. Which parameter they have passed, I can collect it and I can use it. There can be multiple parameters also configured. We will see that, all of them. In the next topic, we will discuss that. Now here, user is not requesting anything, then root will come. If user is requesting home will come. If user is requesting some get product, so get product and pass some number because it is expecting ID, then it says request for parameter ID. And here we are configuring something like contact. So that means it says that request for page with regular expression. Why? Because here C, starting with C, ending with T, in between it can have any number of characters and any character. That indicates that it refers to that contact, cat, something like that we can define, which starts with C and ends with T. You can configure the paths, you can define the paths in this way. That means if it is matching, if it is matching with any one of these paths, then it will get that and it will display. So this is generally important to handle the GET request. So one simple example. So handling. So GET request, handling GET request. How we can handle the GET request. So this is a basic example, app.js. In that, this is the code that we have written for that. Now here, very important, while configuring the routes in this way, you need to understand about the route parameters correctly. Route parameters, you need to understand route parameter. Actually, route parameter is nothing but route parameter allows to pass a query string in URL. It allows to pass a query string in URL. So in URL, so what is the advantage of that? You can query any content directly from URL. You can query any content directly from URL. So route parameters are responsible for allowing you to pass the query, and you can configure the route parameters in a path. You can configure route parameters in path. How to configure route parameters in path? Syntactically, we have to define like this: app dot so get, and here we need to define slash and page and slash you have to define colon, so colon, and you have to configure the parameter. So and the parameter, so parameter 1 again slash colon, you can say parameter 2. You can use any number of parameters. You can configure multiple parameters also. And after that, we will use a callback function here, callback function. And this callback function uses request and response. The parameters you have passed, that means route parameters can be accessed by using request.params property, by using request.params property, request object params property. By using this, we can access the parameters. Request.params can access the parameters that you have configured. It allows to configure the parameters. It allows to access the parameters. So you can define the parameters. That means, for example, here, see, so route parameters, why we need them? Very regularly we need them, because generally you have database. In the database, so you have product ID, and we have name and price. Based on product ID, I need to get the particular detail. Product ID like 1, 2, 3 are there. I need to fetch the detail. Then actually our URL request will be in this way. Our URL request will be, so we have get product and a /1 that refers to that ID. Now it has to collect that ID and it should check is there any product matching with that ID and fetch that. That means in the logic we write, so all the business logic to get the ID they have passed and search for the ID in the database and use it. That means now what generally we do is, here we write the query. So if you know, if it is MongoDB, generally what we do, we write the query like this: db.collection and dot here tbl products. And in that, what we do generally, we configure a simple, so find command. So we defined a find command. In that we define the query. Query is product ID. So query is product ID. And the product ID is matching with whatever the ID you passed. That means the parameter it will collect and it will use it. If you are dealing with database like MySQL, then it will use select star from table. So where the product ID is equal to whatever the parameter you have passed, it will collect that parameter and use it. So for this, so our route requires the parameters. Requires to configure the parameters and define. So in server-side technologies, we need the routes which can accept the query strings and it can collect the values and display them. So generally how you configure this, so how we can access this, let's see here. Just I will terminate this and I will just create a simple example for only route parameters. So here I'm just adding app.listen. App.get, and here we are defining. So get product, and which product information you want to get. Then here it is expecting /:, so ID as a parameter. So now I need to use a callback function, and that uses a request and a response object. Through the request object, you can request the query string. Through the request object, you can request the query string. So that means you can access the parameters, params. It will collect the parameters. I will do one thing. I will use the response.send, and I will print that request.params. I will print that params. Now let's run this and see. Let's compile. It is started. Now let's go. Here we are defining the product ID. So we are defining get product, and we are passing the ID 101, that is ID. And you can see it gets that. This is the parameter. So, and key, and this is the value. You have to just pass the value in the URL. These days you will see such route parameters very regularly. Earlier, our route parameters need to be very complex. We call them as query string. Early days, do you know how we use, suppose www.amazon.in. Now in that we are using a question mark. So that means question mark. Suppose say /electronics dot some PHP, ASP, JSP. We put query string question mark. And here we define, so category is equal to mobiles. After that ampersand, we define as model is equal to Samsung. So after that ampersand, so make of ampersand, some price is equal to some price. We define the query like this. This is lengthy. Now with the help of route parameters, you can observe several websites. Amazon.in/electronics. /mobiles/30,000. It will be more simple now. So this is how you can see the URLs these days regularly in the websites. For example, you see the websites. Suppose I will open a website like some website like some Just Dial. Just Dial website is there. So I open this website Just Dial. When I open this Just Dial website, in the Just Dial, you can see we can select various categories. Observe the URL. Observe the URL. I click on automobile. Then you can see that it will directly use all these ///. These are all route parameters. Such you can design. You can put a link on link click. It can directly pass that URL. You can do that. You can configure that. So we will see how we can configure and how we